Hey guys, back from a long trip and it's time to record a game. Truth of the matter is I gave up a long time ago recording games, as you may have noticed, due to the incessant bugs in the client, something I've talked about before, but I decided to just play some games, and incredibly one of them slipped through the cracks. I had a really good game before this that unfortunately bugs out in the replay around turn 4. Pretty standard. But this game actually goes to completion and is pretty damn good, actually. I don't think it's the most fair matchup, to be honest, but the way that it unfolds is pretty interesting. So my opponent's playing Karn Silver Golem, which as far as the colorless generals go is, I think, kind of near the bottom of the barrel. There's certainly better options. I think any of the Eldrazi are better than this guy, but he might have some way to support it. I'd say Kozilek is the best colorless one, because it's totally castable and has the draw 4 effect, and you can often chain cast it, kind of like Maelstrom Wanderer. I've got a borderline keepable hand, but I do have Lotus plus Mana Vault and Copy Artifact, so I have insane ramp potential if I'm able to draw just one more land. So I'm going to keep this. And notice that right there, I went first, and I didn't draw an extra card, which is a recommendation I put in with Ryan Spain, one of the Magic Online coders, some time ago, saying that you got to at least code it so that the game recognizes when you're playing 1v1 in EDH, because that's about all that people do online. I mean, I guess there are a few group games here and there, but most of the EDH games that are available are 1 versus 1, and allowing the person who wins the die roll to draw is pretty stupid. So I'm very glad that that was changed a few months ago, as far as I know. Anyway, here we go. Leave a turn 1 Mana Vault. And these mono brown EDH decks tend to be just way too slow, generally, unless they get Soul Ring, Mana Crypt, Mishra's Workshop, some permutation of those. And you got the Workshop, which is like even better than Soul Ring in a colorless deck. He taps for 3 and then just says go, which is strange. I just figured he's doing that whole tap to just auto yield thing. Turns out that's not the case. Alright, well, I didn't draw a land, so we're going to have to do something a little bit desperate. A little unorthodox. Hang on a sec, I've got to pause. I've got a kid at the door. Alright, continuing on. So, after some contemplation, I could just hang around and wait for another land. But I think that I don't really have that kind of time, especially not against a Workshop. So I'm going to just make a little bit of an unorthodox play here. I'm going to copy Mana Vault to get an extra mana. It's almost like a Dark Ritual that damages you for the rest of the game. And then cast a Lotus and Metamorph the Lotus. This gives me 6. Don't have anything else to do, but at least I can muddle something. That roar you heard in the background is Temple Run. Okay. So let's see what happens. 3 mana. Palladium Mirror. So according to old Kelds here, that was what he intended to cast turn 1. And certainly if he had had turn 2 Karn Silver Golem, it would have been a different game. So it kind of sucks. For some reason he said he couldn't cast a Palladium Mirror. We're going to be taking damage from these vaults for a while. Alright, drew an island there. So I'm cycling down to go get, what was my plan here actually? Yeah, I think the plan was to go get, might have been to just go get Mana Drain. Yeah, it's just Mana Drain. I'm not too threatened by this right now, just because I figure if I have Mana Drain to protect, the worst thing you can do is cast Karn, but he has no way to interact with either of these creatures, so I'll most likely just get so far ahead rapidly that getting to one of the other bounce spells will be inevitable. And the fact that Glenelendra can stop anything really dangerous here means that I'm pretty protected from something like, say, I don't know, a Nivenral's Disc. Because Nivenral's Disc would be crushing. Strip Mine, oh my god. Oh my god, don't have Nivenral's Disc. Post-combat, Oblivion Stone. Well, he got something like Nivenral's Disc, but the good news is this costs 5 to use, and you can't use Workshop to fuel it. So even though this is going off in a couple turns, I at least have some time to maybe draw some answers. Medallion Click. That's not an answer. Well, we got to draw cards right now at all costs. So we're just going to slam Azami here. Draw right away. Mox Opal. It's fairly handy. Draw another card. There's an island. Opal, that means I can play the click. And I'm not really, honestly, too terrified of what might be in his hand, given that I've got Glenelendra. I suspect that anything of danger that he might have could be countered by the Glenelendra. So I'm just going to use the Medallion Click on myself, because I just need to dig to an answer to deal with the stone before he gets to 5 mana. And he's really not very far away at all. So I'm going to discard my own Wind Orb. I should say cycle the Wind Orb into Dissolve. Not bad. Alright. Protected from a Crypto Soul Ring there. So he's got 4 mana. He plays Karn. Just a little strange given that he's got the Oblivion Stone out. I was figuring he'd put a Fate counter on the Palladium Mirror at the end of the turn, given that it's half of his available non-Mishra's mana. And then he would untap, play a 5th land, and blow up the stone to wreck me. So this is a strange play, but he's doing it because he really wants to kill Mox Opal, because he needs to reduce me from 9 mana to 8. Alright, so in turn we can draw off the click. Strip Mine. Very, very timely right there, because that means I get 1 extra turn, which equates to 4 more cards minimum. Taking more damage from these vaults. It's almost like I have Mana Crypt in play that always hurts me. It doesn't make any more mana. Alright, another island. Just going to keep drawing. Mana Leak's very handy, given how low he is on mana. Gotta pause again. Alright, let's continue this. So yeah, I've got a fair amount of time here thanks to this Strip Mine. So we're just going to kill the Urza's Tower, seeing as how it's probably more impactful than this thing. You normally think you would Strip Mine Mishra's Workshop, but that would be crazy right now, because I just pretty much lose the game if Oblivion Stone resolves. I mean, I don't lose the game, but am badly crippled. I do get this guy back at least. It's kind of cool. Alright, so we're just going to play the Divining Top and use it. Merchant Scroll, that's what we're looking for. That is either Into the Royal or Cyclonic Rift to deal with all these shenanigans. I made a mistake here. I think I probably actually should have, in retrospect, drawn a card right away with the Divining Top and Merchant Scroll. The top is not really very useful right now because I have the ability to just draw 3 a turn extra. So looking at the top 3 is of little consequence. And having the scroll in my hand right now to go get Cyclonic Rift would mean that I'd have enough mana to Rift next turn plus mana drain. So I think that was a little bit dumb, actually. So just placing their land, he's back to 4. He's going to bash me with Karn.
I was at 444 coins.
You were at 444 coins? Alright, end step. Take 2 more damage. So here's where I lamented the fact that I didn't cast Merchant Scroll last turn, because then I would have plenty of mana to do everything I needed to do. To go Cyclonic Rift right now and really put this game away. So I'm just going to Merchant Scroll, and I'm going to actually get into the Royal right now, because I'm going to only be targeting one thing. So what am I bouncing here? Am I bouncing Oblivion Stone? Or am I bouncing Palladium Mirror? Considering the fact that this thing makes 2 mana, this doesn't do anything without 5. It seems like the obvious choice, actually, is to bounce the Mirror. So he puts a Fate counter on his guy. Turns to his hand. I just draw Cyclonic Rift right off the top. It's pretty disgusting, and I get Venser as well. Alright, so back to his turn. He's playing Palladium Mirror. We're just going to leak, or not leak that, we're going to dissolve it. There's a lapse on top as well. 3 mana. Mimic Vat does nothing. Alright, draw. Now it's just Academic. There's a Condescend on top. Draw the Rainforest. I actually decided I'd like the Tomb as well. Alright, next step draw. Karn, not the best attacker. I'm gonna sack. Void Mage. So I might as well just Rift at this point. And that is all she wrote. Certainly this game would have been a lot closer if he had managed to get his Palladium Mirror out on turn 1. I think that based on how it progressed, and the fact that without the few cards like Revoker and Spine of a Shah and Karn Liberated and stuff, that monocolor decks have no way to interact with artifacts at all. The Lotuses probably would have just overwhelmed him anyway. But it would have been a much closer game, at least. He would have been able to get the Oblivion Stone out and Yeah, I guess you would have been able to use it at some point. I don't know. Maybe we would have won. But thought it was a cool game to record, and I hope to have some more down the road that are worth recording as well that actually work. See you guys later.